Right, let's take out verbal because verbal is its own clause by itself. All right, so this morning we are talking about clauses in English grammar. And the most basic clause that we have in English is what's called an independent clause. So let's talk about that. What is a clause? All right, so let's start with first by explaining an independent clause. All right, independent clause is she is, there we go, she is reading. All right, there we go. It is a complete thought by itself. Independent clause is, yeah, just that. It is independent. It is a thought by itself. So that's why we call it independent. She is reading a book. Independent clause in and of itself. Now, when we have a clause, that means we are inserting an additional meaning or definition into the phrase. All right, so yeah, she is reading a book. All right, I'm going to give another independent clause. This is an independent clause. All right, another independent clause is the cat sat on the mat. All right, independent clause, the cat sat on the mat. All right, this by itself is its own sentence. Let's break it up. We have the subject, verb. We have a, goodness, my brain is farting this morning. Preposition. Mat. All right, this is an object. Subject, verb, object. Same thing up here. We have subject, she is reading. This is present continuous. And if you remember last week, we talked about all the different verb tenses. So this is present continuous. And then the object. Good morning, everybody. And this, the cat sat on the hat, that is past simple. All right, so we have our independent clauses. This is the most simple form of grammar of English or of any sentence. Let's make things complicated. Are you guys ready to make things complicated this morning? Let's make some things complicated. Independent clauses. Let's make something that we call a dependent clause. There we go. A dependent clause. All right, so with a dependent clause, we add something more. All right, so we're going to add, we have the independent clause here. We're going to add a dependent clause. We're going to say, because it is raining, she is reading a book. Does it follow me? Oh, it does follow me. That's lovely. Okay, here we go. Follow me, camera. Follow me over here. All right, good. All right, because it, I need to get closer. I'm still working with the camera. It's raining. She is reading a book. All right, work with me here. This right here is our clause. This cannot live by itself. It is dependent on this. All right, or rather, this is dependent on this. All right. So with a dependent clause, you are dependent on something. All right? She is reading a book. Wonderful sentence by itself. Because it's raining. Now, she's reading a book. Why? Because she's dependent on something. She is reading a book because it is raining. All right, that is the dependent clause. Let's try another example. All right, we have right here the cat sat on the mat. The cat sat on the mat. Well, let's try something more with this. All right, the cat sat on the mat. Why? All right, let's add something to it. Let's say that when she was little, the cat sat on the mat. That was my face and not my hand. Sorry, guys, about the camera. All right, that was my face. I'm gonna get the face away. Away! Oh my gosh. All right, so, when she was little, come on, over here, camera. Listen. When she was little, the cat sat on the mat. All right, the cat sat on the mat when? Dependent clause. When she was little. All right. See if I can bring it up here. Good. All right. I'm gonna. I really wish I could stop the camera thing. How do you guys do that? I only want the camera to sit still, but it's not sitting still on me today. I don't understand. Uh, it's being very funny. Not funny for you. I'm very sorry. I'm an idiot. I gotta keep moving. All right. When she was little, the cat sat on the hat. So that is a dependent clause. It is making the general, it's putting the rest of the phrase in a context. That's what we call a dependent clause. These are the simple ones, okay? Independent clause can live by itself. She is reading a book. Nothing much to it. Dependent clause, because it is raining, she is reading a book. And this is a clause that is dependent on this phrase right here, and this phrase is dependent on this. The two go together. All right, same thing here. When she was little. All right, when she was little, this is the clause. When she was little, the cat sat on the mat. And we do not Worcestershire sauce. Oh boy. This is not a sentence by itself. When she was little. Okay. The reason this isn't a sentence by itself, let's follow through. When she was little. Okay. We have the verb. We have the subject with no object, nothing else to go with it. So yeah, this cannot be a sentence by itself. It is dependent on this phrase right here, and the two go together, and they don't survive independently. All right, so we have the simple clauses out there. I don't know if you guys have any questions from that. I'm looking at the comments over here. Any questions from independent or dependent clauses before we move into something more complicated? All right, this next section is for you guys that are more advanced or intermediate. We are going to start talking about less common clauses, but things that we use all the time as native English speakers. So here we go. We did the easy part first. All right, so let's talk about some complicated clauses in English. All right, complicated clauses. Let's start with easy. Relative clause. And no, that's not referring to when your uncle comes over to visit. Relative clause relative clause puts things into context. All right, relatives are related. Relatives are related. Come on, work with me, camera. There we go. Relatives are related. So relative clause. So let's go ahead and let's put this into context. So we're talking about the cat on the mat. All right. The cat who lives next door is on the mat. The cat who lives next door is on the mat. All right, here we go. The cat. Right here is our subject. Who lives next door? This right here is our relative clause. The cat who lives next door. Here is our verb. It's on the mat. This is our object. All right, the cat who lives next door is on the mat. All right, so let's go ahead and let's look at this right here. This right here is relative. It's relative to what? It's relative to the verb right here. And some people might call this, sorry, noun. This is similar to a noun clause, but we'll get to that later. But what this is doing is putting the cat into context. What cat? The cat who lives next door is on the map. And these clauses don't just exist in English, they also exist in other languages. But today we're discovering the clauses as they appear in English and what we call them. So we call this the relative clause, the cat who lives next door, and of course the cat in relation to living next door is on the mat. All right, let's go ahead and do another example. The book that is about to see is ready. All right, here we go. The book, the is subject. Then that is about to see is the relative clause. Is verb, adjective. Ready. The book that is about Tutsi is ready. And for those of you that don't know, yes, I have written a book about the Tunisian language. It's called Tutsi in Black and White, which is why I'm plugging this in right now. So go ahead and look that up, Google that. Tutsi in Black and White, it is a dictionary. Très difficile, someone says. Oh yes, c'est pas trop difficile. The book. We do this also in French for those of you that are francophonic. The book that is about Tutsi is ready. All right, there you go. Tutsi is the Tunisian language. So this is what we have with a relative clause. It is usually something that is specifying what the subject is. All right. Relative clause is a dependent clause that modifies the noun in a phrase. Oh, I'm speaking too fast. I'm so sorry. I will speak slower. All right. So relative clause, again, describes the noun, the subject that is in the phrase. All right, let's continue. Relative clause, adverbal clause. And this one's super, super fun because we really get things all complicated and messy with it. All right, so the adverbial clause is because she is tired. Because she is tired, the cat is on the mat. All right, let me check that. Because she is tired, the cat is on the mat. All right, so here we go. Because she was tired, this right here is a clause. And for those of you that are learning how to write in English, notice that I did put a comma here. I love putting commas around all my clauses. She for cat, yes, because she is tired, cat. And thank you for pointing that out, because sometimes people are not very clear in their writing and they need to clarify a little bit of context. All right, so because she is tired, the cat is on the mat. And you can say, why is she on the mat? You can say, because she was tired. All right. Actually, yeah, this is bad example. Bad example. Let me do something clear. Because she is on the mat now. Okay. Sorry. Because she is tired, that is the adverbial clause right there. Because she is tired, the cat is on the mat now. All right. Let's add another adverbial clause. All right. Next example is although it was cold. All right. Although it was cold. All right. Although it was cold, what? Although it was cold, we went for a walk. So, adverbial clause. It modifies a verb, adjective, or adverb. All right. Adverbial clause, it modifies the verb, adjective, or adverb. Here we go. So in here, although it was cold, it modifies the verb. It's talking about the verb. We went for a walk even though it was cold. So although it was cold, goes for this, and it can go the other way around. So we can do this two ways. Fun part about English, right? With these clauses, we can mix and match them all around the different phrases. Here we go. Although it was cold, we went for a walk. And then the other way around, we went for a walk although it was cold. So it can go both ways, right? And the clause is just a phrase that clarifies whatever we're talking about. So in this particular circumstance, we are clarifying that it was going for a walk, although it was cold. We're clarifying. Okay? We're clarifying right here because she was tired. We're clarifying why she was on the mat now. All right, so that is the adverbial clause. Good morning, everybody. Hope you all are doing well. I hope it's not too early for an English lesson. I'm going to make relative clause on here because we're going to do noun clauses now, all right? So I'm going to do some comparing. This guy, you guys are hysterical. Oh my goodness. All right, so noun clause. So we talked about earlier the relative clause. All right, the cat who lives and is describing the subject here, but now I want to talk about noun clause, and we're going to do a little bit of comparing and contrasting with this one. All right. So here we go. Can we turn this one into a noun clause? Let's see. There we go. Put a the in there front. That's always a question. Let's just go with my examples I wrote in my lesson plan here. All right. What she did. Oops. Was surprising. Say noun clause. What she did was surprising. All right, now I got one. Now I got an example for the cat and the mat. Are you ready? One. The mat is all right, here we go. Now we're rolling. All right, so we have two different noun clauses ready to go for you. And a noun clause is essentially taking a phrase, a small phrase, and turning it into the noun, the subject of the sentence. Okay? Check this out. Good morning. The noun here is what she did. That is the noun clause. This phrase, this small little phrase right here, turns into all of a sudden the subject of the sentence. Here's your verb. Here's your adjective. That is a good English sentence. Why? Because we have a noun clause playing the part of the subject. All right, look at this one. The one on the mat. The one on the mat. Maybe that could be a phrase by itself, but it's not very pretty. This phrase right here becomes subject, becomes a noun. That's why it's called a noun clause. Noun clause. Yay! Is the cat. Is defining the cat, which becomes the object. Definitive adjective, whatever you want to call it. Good morning, good morning. But yes, the noun clause takes a sentence, takes a phrase, and turns it into a noun. Did and was how. All right, good morning, folks. All right, so we have the noun clause and we have the relative clause. Now, the difference between the relative clause, because this can be confusing for people. The relative clause describes a noun, whereas a noun clause turns the clause into a noun. All right, relative clause is a description. Should do punctuation. Missing the dot, huh? The cat, punctuation right here, right? With the commas, that was about to do Tootsie. And sometimes clauses can be a bit, people don't always agree with how to punctuate them all the time. Well, can you explain the lesson in French? I can do it really quickly. Pour ceux qui comprennent le français, on a les clauses en anglais où on a une phrase qui devient le nom ou le verbe ou l'adjectif. Donc, une clause, c'est une petite phrase qui devient quelque chose d'autre dans le phrase. Okay? In Arabic, فما جمل. No, that's something else. فما جملة يوليد ستات وكلمة في جملة. Okay? So that's a clause. جملة في وسط جملة. معناها حاجة أخرى. Alright? So in English, a clause is a phrase in a phrase that gives more meaning to something in the phrase. Okay, so let's go ahead. So we have relative clause, describes the noun. We have noun clause, which is the noun itself changing into a phrase changing into a noun. What she did was surprising. All right, let's do an infinitive clause. You guys familiar with infinitive form of a verb? See if you can guess what an infinitive clause is. All right, ready? All right, here we go. Infinitive clause. For the cat to sit on the mat is impossible. Infinitive clause, a clause that contains an infinitive verb. All right, so this is kind of two clauses. This particular example is two clauses at the same time. Isn't that fun? All right, so we have we have the subject. No, sorry, so sorry. This is the clause right here. For the cat to sit on the mat. For the cat to sit on the mat. That is your phrase right there. For the cat. This becomes all the subject. And like the previous, this is a noun clause. And not only is it a noun clause, it's now an infinitive clause. Why is it an infinitive clause? Because now we have the verb in the infinitive form. For the cat to sit on the mat is impossible. And the for the cat to sit on the mat is impossible. So this is our clause right here. It is a short phrase that we put at the beginning. On the mat is part of this. So it goes with to sit, it goes within this phrase. So this is called a noun clause because all this becomes a noun, and it's also an infinitive clause because this is an infinitive. It doesn't define time. The cat, we don't say for the cat sat on the mat. No, we don't say for the cat will sit on the mat. We will not say for the cat sit on the mat. We put it into the infinitive, which puts it in general terms. All right, for the cat to sit on the mat is impossible. For me to teach online is a lot of fun. You see how it works? For me to teach online is a lot of fun. Let's do another example. This is a simple example that many of you have already used before. Okay, here we go. Let's see. I love to learn. Awesome. All right. I love to learn English. All right. This is considered an infinitive clause. We had the independent clause earlier. For those of you who are following me from the beginning of this stream, thank you for doing so. Make sure you subscribe so that every time I go live that you can join me. But this is an independent clause, also an infinitive clause right here, infinitive clause. And this is probably one of the most simple of the dependent clauses that we can use in any given sentence. So you can just say, I love English. That is a phrase by itself. When we put in, I love to learn English, then we have a clause in our sentence. And it's an infinitive clause because the verb for learn is to learn. It's in the infinitive form. So I love to learn English. All right. So let's go ahead and let's think about this. Are we ready to move on to the next clause? Good morning. I think this one's pretty clear, right? Infinitive clause just has an infinitive form of a verb in there. So let's go ahead to the next one. That was not relative clause, that was infinitive clause. Whoops. All right, so oh my goodness. All right, we're going to do something called a participle clause. All right, participle clause. Here we go. All right, here we go. Participle clause. Having eaten dinner, the cat sat on the mat. Called a participle clause. And the participle clause is, let me read the definition for you, a clause that uses a participle, past or present. All right, so if we're thinking of what the participle is, it's sitting right here next to my ear. Having eaten. Having eaten dinner, the cat sat on. Whoa! I am so sorry about the camera. I need to figure out how to fix this. I have no idea how to keep it from following me everywhere. See, and can I control the camera? Ah, look at that. No, that's not it. Give me a second, I am fixing this. So stop giving you guys, actually I can't fix this, I don't know how to fix it. I just updated my system on here, and so now everything's weird. Okay, participle clause. Having eaten dinner, eaten is a participle. The cat sat on the mat. Having eaten dinner, the cat sat on the mat. All right, that is our participle clause. And having eaten dinner, that's a clause part. And the cat is the one that's eaten dinner, but it's also giving us reference to when the cat sat on the mat. So that's why we put it there. The cat sat on the mat is a phrase in and of itself, independent, doesn't need anything else. And having eaten dinner is your clause. All right, so that puts it into the past and gives you some frame reference as to when the cat sat on the mat. All right, we are going to go ahead and do one more. And most of you have already studied this. Hey, nice to meet you. All right, most of you have already studied this. It's called the gerund clause. Gerund clause. All right, so there's your own clause, or there's your own clause, however you want to call it, no matter where you're from. This is a thing. All right, here we go. So here's say, I enjoy learning English. Okay, I enjoy learning English. All right, this is going to go ahead and pretty much here on is putting ing at the end of a verb. I enjoy learning English. All right, let's do another gerund clause. Swimming is a good exercise. All right, that's another gerund clause right there. Swimming is a good exercise. Notice we turn a verb right here into the noun of the subject. So the swimming now becomes the subject. This is the verb. Good exercise. Now, can we do this with other verbs? Well, let's go ahead and let's see. Let's think of one. I see someone says, I joined in learning English. All right, so let's take that and turn that into a gerund one. Learning English is why I joined. Okay. Learning English is why I joined. All right, this is kind of a weird one, all right, because we have two different clauses. We have learning English. Learning English typically would be, this is a verb and it's not a noun, but now it is a noun. So this is now becoming a gerund clause. It's also the subject. Is our verb. And then, why I joined. Another phrase, and this becomes the object. Or adjective. It's not the object. This is the object. All right. So this, why I joined, let's think of what kind of clause was that we studied earlier. So it's turning the verb into a noun by adding the ing, or turning the verb into a noun by adding the ing. Yeah, a lot of times we can do this, all right? So learning English is the verb. Why I joined. Okay, that's another clause. It's adding a reason. It is a relative clause. Not relative clause. A noun clause. Yeah. Why I joined is a noun clause because it's becoming a noun. All right. Yes, it's a complement sentence. It's not a sentence as a phrase because these sentences, these clauses, cannot exist as a sentence by themselves. All right. So let's go ahead and add in a talking is fun. So here we have the verb to talk, ing to it, and it becomes the noun. It's fun. All right. I'm going to go ahead and go to the next portion. So those of you that are following me on YouTube, I'm going to cut you off. And I'm just going to focus on the TikTokers right now. Because the lesson part of this is now I've gone through all the causes and clauses. And so I'm going to